Now at 5, students at a Joplin alternative school need supplies.
The U.S. hits the highest one-day record for COVID cases. I'm Deborah Alfarone at the White House with what the administration is specifically doing to try and stem the surge.
And we check out the potential health benefits of fermented foods.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Students of the Roy S. Wood Alternative School in Joplin are in need of some extra supplies after many items were distributed ahead of Christmas Day. This is KOAM News at 5. Economic Security partners with the alternative school to do case management with at-risk youth and their families. Students are given access to a variety of resources and items, things like food and clothing, a place to do laundry and take showers. A case manager also helps students find housing and jobs. One teen says that support's motivating him to push for a better future.
I really don't want to be like my parents, and I really just want to make sure that I set my kids up for success and that, they're able to have a life where they don't have to do the things that I did, honestly.
Staff says bicycles and hygiene products are always needed. If you'd like to help out with any of the needs at the Joplin Alternative School, check out this story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, for contact information. Tonight at 6, we're going to hear more about Gabe's story. Right now, checking in with Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Yeah, not bad for us today. A little bit on the chilly side. We did get some more showers in here early during the morning hours. All these rotated out of here by early afternoon. Then we've had a lot of clouds kind of hanging out behind it as this system continues to race off toward the east at a pretty good clip. Next storm system already building out across southern parts of California. That will be in by New Year's Eve into New Year's Day with chances for wintry weather and also Arctic air, which is going to roll in. So we have a lot to talk about with that. Mid-30s northern counties, near 50 in our southern counties. I think we'll drop back through the 40s into the 30s later on tonight. So it is going to be a chilly night for us across the entire 4-state area, but we're going to break down that next storm system for you here in just a bit.
See you then, thanks. A judge sentences the suspect in a Junction shooting death. Jeremiah Tyner entered a plea agreement to involuntary manslaughter for the June 2020 shooting death of Amanda Parker. The judge gave Tyner a deferred sentence of 7 years in prison, but Tyner is permitted to opt for a 120-day shock treatment instead. Authorities say Tyner was cleaning a handgun in a mobile home with Parker. Tyner then reached for a rifle that discharged. The bullet struck and killed Parker. Jurors this afternoon convicted British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell of luring teenage girls to be sexually abused by American millionaire Jeffrey Epstein. The guilty verdict on 5 of 6 counts caps a month-long trial featuring accounts of the sexual exploitation of girls as young as 14. Maxwell faces the likelihood of years in prison. Federal health officials expect COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths to increase in the coming weeks as infections in the U.S. hit a record high. Despite the surge, the CDC is explaining its new recommendation for a shorter isolation period and the unnecessary requirement of a negative test at the end. Reporter Deborah Alfarone has more from the White House.
Just a day after U.S. COVID cases hit the highest one-day total of more than 400,000, the CDC is defending its decision to slash the recommended isolation period for those who test positive from 10 days to 5.
We are standing on the shoulders of 2 years of science. We know that after 5 days, people are much less likely to transmit the virus, and that masking further reduces that risk.
CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky is also answering critics who've called for a negative COVID test requirement at the end of isolation.
We know a PCR test would not be viable because that PCR can stay positive for up to 12 weeks.
The FDA warns at-home rapid antigen tests may be less effective at detecting the more transmissible Omicron variant, though it still says people can use them. Federal testing sites are popping up in several states to meet increased demand. The Biden administration is sending medical personnel and equipment to hard-hit areas, and they're also urging all Americans to get the vaccine or a booster shot if eligible. Plans are underway for a smaller crowd at New York's New Year's Eve ball drop, while some cities such as Atlanta and San Francisco are canceling public New Year's Eve events. Here in Washington, the Smithsonian announced it will close several museums until January 3rd due to the increase in infections among staff. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says plans for small family gatherings this New Year's Eve with those who are vaccinated should be fine. However, he warns that people should avoid large celebrations with lots of kissing and hugging this year. Still ahead, technology tackles a child safety issue.
New vehicles will soon need alert systems to prevent kids from being left in hot cars. I'm Anthony Pura with the new potentially life-saving tech.
And next in Healthwatch, the potential health benefits of fermented foods. Topping today's Healthwatch, stem cell scientists in Los Angeles have found the origin of a common ovarian cancer. They used cells from women who had the disease to model tissue and discovered ovarian cancer often begins with cancerous lesions in the fallopian tube linings. The findings could help doctors determine which women are most likely to develop ovarian cancer in the future. New research published in JAMA finds a link between e-cigarette use and the decision to quit smoking. In a study of 1,600 smokers, those who tried e-cigarettes showed an 8 times greater tendency to stop smoking regular cigarettes. New study finds many people with kidney disease worldwide are not getting the nutritional care they need. Out of 155 nations surveyed, only 48% provide kidney patients with dietitians. Doctors say proper nutrition can slow kidney decline and delay the need for dialysis. By now, you've probably heard of health benefits of fermented foods. They're thought to provide good bacteria that promotes a healthy digestive system. But as the chief dietitian at St. Louis University tells us, there are some do's and don'ts when it comes to incorporating these foods into your diet. Yogurt, pickles, sauerkraut, and kombucha. Fermented foods like these are a popular way to boost your gut health.
The healthier your gut is, the healthier overall well-being will be.
Studies have also suggested that fermented foods may reduce the risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure. But make sure you're doing it right when it comes to fermented foods. Do look for products that contain active live cultures. If the food is canned, the beneficial bacteria was killed in the process.
If it's still refrigerated, then more than likely still has live active cultures in it.
Look for statements on the label like contains probiotics, unpasteurized, or contains live cultures. And don't buy products with added sugar. Some yogurts and kombuchas contain as much sugar as soda. It's also a good idea to check out the sodium content. If you're purchasing sauerkraut, do make sure it's raw and doesn't contain vinegar or preservatives, which can lessen the benefits. And when it comes to fermented foods, don't overdo it.
Incorporating a little bit of them every day is a good way, or you could just eat them once or twice a week.
Though consuming fermented foods is considered a relatively new dietary trend, people have actually been fermenting for about 10,000 years. It originally started to preserve food, but today we do it to add flavor and, of course, those health benefits. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, our pet vet on call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to talk about why cats wake you up in the middle of the night.
Plus, it looks like we have a pretty big storm system rolling in for New Year's Eve and day. We're going to check that out coming up. Well, we got some more showers into the region for us during the daytime hours today, especially late morning into the early afternoon. Then they push right on through. Now just a lot of clouds sticking around as we go through the evening hours. We do have our next storm system. Rain moves in Friday night, an Arctic front. We're going to have rain, freezing rain, sleet for New Year's Day. This is going to be our first Arctic blast that we have seen this winter. Of course, you can get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog, KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, temperatures are chilly, lower 50s, southern counties. Then most of us into the 40s, and then we drop into the 30s in our northern counties. So it is going to be a chilly night, but look at the Arctic air kind of looming up across the northern parts of the U.S. into southern Canada, just waiting to shift off toward the south, and eventually it is going to roll in. by the time we head into the weekend. Gloomy right now, sitting at 44, cloudy skies, winds are light, humidity is high. We're going to get some patchy fog building in as we go through the overnight hours, as we slide back through the 30s, mid-30s for overnight lows. Still kind of socked in with the clouds. You can see the rain earlier today, even a few sleet pellets mixed in our northern counties. All the rain pushed through, so this is gone. This storm system is heading away from us. We get a little bit of a break, and then our next system is building out across parts of California, Nevada, western Arizona, which will start to roll in by the time we head into Friday. So let's break down the next few days. Clouds stick around tonight and fog. Mid-30s, mostly cloudy skies through the daytime hours tomorrow. We'll go into lower 50s by noon, and I think most of us will top out upper 50s for highs. 35 with fog to start, 55 by noon. High temp at 59. Tomorrow night, clouds stick around, so mostly cloudy skies. As we go into Friday, still a lot of clouds, but we're going to warm up. We're going to go into the mid-60s on New Year's Eve, and then we'll start to get some showers in here by the time we head into the evening hours. So here's 8:30 p.m. So if you're heading out for New Year's Eve, you're going to want to take the rain gear, as it will be kind of wet, especially along and south of Interstate 44. As we go through the overnight hours into Saturday morning, that cold Arctic air will start to press off toward the south, and you can start to see the pink popping up. That's freezing rain and sleet, and most of this is going to be along north of Interstate 44. So as we go through Saturday morning, sleet picking up, freezing rain and sleet. Temperatures continue to drop into the 20s during the afternoon. I think this is going to be fairly light, but it's going to cause some issues on the roadways, and then it'll start to shift out of here. We'll have flurries by the time we head into Saturday night, and we're going to drop down into the single digits by the time we head into Sunday morning. So accumulating wintry weather. This may get altered. This storm system is still 2.5 days away, but I really think from Joplin north, we are going to have some light ice accumulations. Most of the accumulating snow will stay north of the region, but we could have some ice issues by the time we head into Saturday. Again, this is mainly north of I-44. If you live south of I-44, you're mainly dealing with rain. 59 tomorrow, 65 Friday. We drop into the 20s on Saturday, down to 9 Saturday night, only 27 on Sunday. So we get the Arctic air. Thankfully, it only wants to stick around for a couple days and then head right back to Canada.
Yeah, send it back where it came from.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's fine with me. Thanks, Doug. Coming up, the safety feature that'll soon be on all new cars. First, though, we take a moment to recognize a local World War II veteran. Private First Class George Hawkins Jr. served with a bomber squadron in the South Pacific. His medals include a Purple Heart. His hometown, Columbus, Kansas. And we are proud to salute Private First Class George Hawkins Jr., a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, just as the U.S. cruise industry had gotten back out on the seas, working on its recovery, well, there's concern it could be shut down again thanks to the pandemic. The CDC says it's identified 85 cruise ships with COVID on board. This as some passengers and media outlets are reporting a few ports won't let passengers disembark if they're on ships with COVID cases. Carnival, the world's largest cruise operator, said earlier this week it would find alternate ports if necessary. Flight disruptions continue to ripple across the world. According to FlightAware, more than 2,000 flights are canceled today. Globally, more than 700 of those are U.S.-based flights. Inclement weather and an ongoing uptick in coronavirus cases are denting staffing levels. The domestic cancellations are lower than the start of the week. The U.S. housing market continues to be hot for sellers. The S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller 20-City Home Price Index climbed to more than 18% in October compared to a year earlier. Phoenix, Tampa, and Miami, Florida saw the biggest gains. Analysts say the rise is due to a combination of factors, including low interest rates, a limited supply of houses actually up for sale, and people looking to trade up for bigger spaces after being stuck at home during much of the pandemic. From the bottom to the top, every level of DoorDash employee, including the CEO, will be delivering your food again next month. The company says it's reinstating a program called WeDash, which it paused during the pandemic. That means workers, no matter their rank, will make deliveries at least once a month. New federal regulations will require all new cars to be equipped with an alert system aimed at preventing hot car deaths. Reporter Anthony Pura spoke with some automakers about the potentially life-saving technology.
Last year, authorities were called to this home in Fairfax County, Virginia, after a father accidentally left his 11-month-old daughter in the back seat of a car for several hours. The baby was rushed to the hospital but could not be saved. The advocacy group Kids in Cars says, on average, 39 children die in hot cars each year.
Bravo!
Now, a new provision in the infrastructure law could help prevent some of these tragedies. It requires automakers to install backseat alert systems in all new vehicles. General Motors already has one in most models. Chevy's Shad Balch shows us how the technology works.
Rear seat reminder is activated just by opening the door. So back door opens and the car assumes you're putting something back here.
The reminder kicks in at the end of the drive.
We'll power off the vehicle and you'll see it pop up and you hear the audible chimes.
You can't miss it.
Yeah, and that's the whole goal, is just to get the driver's attention as they're getting out of the vehicle to take one last look in the back seat.
Some models, like this Hyundai SUV, go a step further and are equipped with motion detectors.
It's an ultrasonic sensor that looks for motion inside the cabin.
Hyundai's Brian Latouf helped us test it with a person sitting in the back seat of a locked car.
And we're walking away from the car now. And then what happens?
Then if there's motion in the back,
that's quite loud.
It's quite loud.
The alarm goes off and the driver is sent an alert.
We've gotten some strong positive responses to it, and we think it's the right thing to do.
It's not yet known when the rear seat reminder mandate will go into effect. The law gives the Department of Transportation 2 years to implement the new rule. Anthony Pura, CBS News, Fountain Valley, California.
Hey, there's a chance to head into 2022 as a multimillionaire. Tonight's Powerball jackpot has swelled to a whopping $441 million after no one matched the numbers during Monday night's drawing. If the winner chooses the cash up front, they'll walk away with more than $317 million. If you win, just remember who gave you the heads up. Our pet vet on call next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, how a school is helping to build trust between teens and law enforcement. Then on KOAM News at 6, reporter Kate Kelly brings us the story of a student benefiting from a Joplin alternative school and how you could help the school. Plus, a court ruling concerning COVID shots for Oklahoma National Guard members. And we hear from the local woman who was scammed by a person pretending to be Chef Gordon Ramsay. Stay with us. CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Some pet habits are endearing and some not so much. Today's question for our pet vet on call: why does my cat like to walk on me when I sleep?
Well, cats sleep most of the day, except when they're looking for food or looking for you. And because they're sleeping most of the day, they are up in weird hours of the night. And when they're walking on the bed, they are looking for you, but with you under the covers, I don't think they mean to walk on you to wake you up. They are looking for you, and you are just part of the bed. However, either way, when they wake you up, it's very effective. Now you're awake, and your duty, according to cat philosophy, is to get up and feed them.
Those sneaky cats. We invite questions from anyone. If you have one, you just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question or brings us a fun fact every Wednesday right here on KOAM News at 5. Now let's check out our picks of the litter for the week. First of all, from the Joplin Humane Society, this little short-haired kitten is a female named Trace. She would look very much like this if she were to walk on you in the middle of the night. And we've chosen an adult female Labrador Retriever mix named Nova, also from the Joplin Humane Society. If you're looking for a pet, why not at least check out your local Humane Society? They always have a lot of great ones. Some of them might walk on you in the middle of the night, but not necessarily.
It's true. May do it.
One solution is dogs.
That's true.
Although they could walk on you in the middle of the night too. Yes. The weather, it's changing.
It is. It's going to be a chilly night for us tonight, back down into the mid-30s, near 60 tomorrow. A lot of clouds, 65 on New Year's Eve. We're going to start to get showers and thunderstorms Friday evening, and then a wintry mix on Saturday.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. We'll be right back here at 6. Let's make it a great evening.